Rare Books USA online sales monthly report, February 2026. Make sure you go subscribe to my channel for more updates as my business continues to evolve and grow. I would love that, and I would love to see your support in the comment section as well. But all as always, to christen it off with some gematria, art sales, antique and vintage books equals 333 in English ordinal, while book reseller equals 137 in English ordinal, which is the 33rd prime. And if you're new to the channel, a prime number can only be divided by itself in 1. So it's a very special number like that. Rare Books USA's eBay, Etsy, and whatnot stores are subsidiaries of Data Productions Media, which is my main primary channel and business. These are earnings report style monthly updates where I track sales, expenses, and future business advancements. And for my forward guidance, which we started last year in 2025, which was my very first full year in selling. Well, not full time, but very first full year of being on eBay and Etsy online. We did forward guidance of 25,000 to start the year. Then we ended up raising it to 30,000, and we ended the year around 39,000 across all platforms. So the forward guidance for 2026 this year is going to be $70,000 in revenue sales. And we'll see how it goes if I want to raise that up as the year goes along. The year's still early. Okay. Rare Books USA monthly sales report, February 2026. I would like to say out front, I'm mostly just focusing on eBay and Etsy right now. I still do have my whatnot store up. I do have some pending shows with some items listed, but when I start looking at my business, how I want to operate, where I see myself life-wise and such, whatnot's really not in the picture in how I want to sell books. I love buying on the platform. I'm always going to be active, and I will have those special shows when I have those special books. But I mean, today's not the show for it. I can go through many reasons why whatnot's not necessarily a good platform for myself at my current business journey to spend too much effort in. But in reality, my eBay and Etsy stores are growing, and I just want to put all my resources in those two engines right now. Obviously we speak in the book reselling community in Paper Gold that I'm part of, diversity, 100%. That's why I'm diverse in my eBay and Etsy store, but I'm also diverse in a lot of other aspects of my life outside of the book reselling world. So for myself, I don't necessarily need whatnot, as a primary diversifier. It's there for myself to use it, and it's going to be somewhere I can go as an outlet if something goes wrong on eBay and Etsy. But I do make money other ways, even outside of book reselling. So I just want to put in my efforts into the platforms that are giving me good, positive feedback now, because I want to grow and I want to make some money. With that being said, let's get into some of the monthly sales reports, which is going to be just eBay and Etsy. So for eBay this month, and I do like to note that there is one more day left in February. I'm just doing the video now. And so my actual monthly numbers are just missing a day. And so, what could tomorrow bring? I actually have sold things today that didn't make the cut to these screenshots. So it is what it is, but it's close enough, right? And it always comes out in the wash at the end of the year. But for February, the total sales was $4,208.50. As of these screenshots, I sold 128 items on eBay with an average sale price of $32.88. Also remember, I sell a lot of postcards and small ephemera too, which does affect the average sale price. So almost $33 is usually what I'm averaging around for the year. Is good. for the whole year thus far, from January 1st to February 27th, my total sales has been $8,983 flat. So I'm closing in on $9,000 for the year, which is good to see. Rare Books USA, obviously, 99.9% positive feedback. I've only ever had 2 negative feedback. I've never had a neutral feedback. And the 2 negative feedbacks I had, you know, I don't agree with what they've said. So it is what it is. No one's perfect in this game. You're going to get touched ups at some point if you sell enough books. So it used to affect me at one point, but it doesn't now. It just sell better books, get better, provide a better service over time, and you don't have to worry about that. And which is why I've sold, 1,700 items in my time on eBay, and I have 183 followers. So, that's a good ratio. That's 10, 11 orders per follower I'm gaining. And so I think that's a pretty good ratio to look at, is how many followers are you getting per your orders. And I like being around that 10, 11 range. I would like to get it down lower, but that might sacrifice some speed. And so moving on to Etsy, I also, this month on Etsy, I reached over 100 sales on the platform. I've been on it since April, May of last year. So I've reached 100 sales in under a year for Etsy, which is awesome. Really cool. For the month of February, the revenue was $467.87. So that's pretty good. I didn't make any money on Etsy this time last year, so it's just adding to the sales when it comes to the forward guidance at the end of the year. And then for the year, from January 1st to February 27th, I have a revenue of $907.54. So that's really cool to see. When you look at the total February sales for 2026, when you add up eBay and Etsy, that comes out to $4,676.37. And also note, again, I've already made some more sales after these screenshots, and I have tomorrow, which does go into February's numbers. So it could be potential that it could be a $5,000 month. We'll see. But I also want to note, February 2025. So last year in February, my total sales was $1,810.37 on eBay. So this is just eBay because Etsy wasn't a part of the game yet. So 1,800 on sales on eBay last year this time. Now I have 4,200, right? So that's over a double. Think about that. And think about the compounding that's happening as well. So if I'm already doubling what I had year over year, what's that going to entail for the year? What's that going to entail for the linear guidance if it's not as beefy at where I want it to be right now? And so when you actually look at my linear forward guidance on January and February, and let me tell you again, January and February are usually some of the slowest months out of the year. So January, February in the summertime, January, February, because it's right after the holidays, people have already spent a lot of their money. They're just trying to chill, and such. And then the summertime, people are spending money to travel and such. So my numbers last year were down, and I still wasn't full-time yet. But as a full-time seller this year, I'm already doing well over double what I did last year. So that's a good pace that I'm on. And so the linear forward guidance right now, when you add up what I've done for the year, $9,890.54 divided by 2, that comes out to $4,954.27. Obviously, that's just averaged out over 2 months. But if we extrapolate that out over 12, that's going to be $59,000, $59,343.24. I did just under 40,000 last year, combined with half the year on Etsy. So, I'm in line about 60,000. All right, that's cool. But again, that's only off the 2 slowest months of the year, missing a day. And it's the shortest month of the year. So I could see this rising too, especially, and we don't know what my spring my Q4 is going to bring, right? We don't know what my Q4 is going to bring. That could bring in, you know, $20,000 and stuff. I could see myself where I want to go. I could have a November and December at 10,000 each, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. So that's the goal in regards to that. All right, now let's take a look at Rare Books USA February 2026 fundamentals and financials. So at first, I always like to start off with the balance sheet. The balance sheet really doesn't change too much. My assets really is just the cash I have in the account. My fixed assets is my computer equipment, other office equipment, insurance, that type of thing. So it doesn't change too much, but you also have to account for the depreciation. In regards to the income statement, you know, I've been really working on operational profitability, and that's still the goal. That's still a high focus. That's still what I put a lot of effort and emphasis on. So we're at the tail end of the month. Essentially all of my expenses are done. Usually my car payment is the last true expense of the month of big purchases, you know, outside of, you know, car payment, and other administrative things to run the business. Most of the money comes from what I buy to resell. And so I've been a lot better about buying smart, buying cheaper and smart, and not buying as much, and, you know, refurbishing products and stuff. So with that, all that in the play, my net come being a positive $46.54 on a short month with 1 day to spare and all my expenses done, you know, that's a positive sign for me. Profitability is definitely important. Growth is still the number one thing. I want to grow. I'm trying to get to 10,000 items in the store. I'm selling so much, still one-man band. You know, it's going to be tough to get to 10,000 if I continue to sell how much I'm selling. But that's the goal, right? And you know, sometimes climbing a mountain can feel like it's never ending. You know, I might not hit 10,000 listings this year, but I might hit 10,000. I should hit 10,000 next year, especially if I hire a lister or I get somebody to do my shipping for me. That helps a lot. So right now I'm straight. I'm good. Positive net income of $46.54. The cash runway I have is 5 months. If numbers days until I reach zero, if cash received and spent as projected. Cash buffer only one month. You see my cash reserves and buffers change a lot. It's just because I'm moving cash in, moving cash out. I'm adjusting a lot of things. And a positive thing is my eBay seller capital. I used eBay that was been taking 20% of my sales. I'm almost actually finished that up. I might be able to knock that out, if not next month in March, in April. So that does free up at least some weight off the cash runway. But honestly, I might do it again because you know, it is a cheap version of capital, untaxed. And I do have a pretty cheap type of operation product and such. So it kind of makes sense for me to use it again. So I'm not really worried about my cash run rate, cash buffer. The stores are still growing. As long as the store still grows and money's still coming in, that's going to grow over time. And so that's what I got on the fundamentals and financials. I think, you know, obviously our cash is a little low right now, but operationally everything's humming and getting bigger. And we'll get those cash reserves back as we continue to grow and continue to be smarter.